Hello, everyone. We're back again, and coming up, we have just two outstanding people in the ADHD space. We have Mike McLeod and Ben Zook. Now, Mike couldn't be here, and Ben will be coming on to answer any questions. But you got to know these two are in the field every day. They are working in schools. They are working with parents. And Mike McLeod is the founder of GrowNOW ADHD, and Ben is the partner out in GrowNOW Lancaster. So I know we've talked to both of these guys. Mike was on a podcast with us, and they are sought after speakers in this space. And Mike has a main goal to help kids and teens become more independent, positive, and successful in their day-to-day lives. The real telltale here is that they have over 500 five-star reviews, and it really tells a story about their passion to help. So have a listen to the video they did for us, and then Ben will come on and answer any questions that you might have. And again, please use the chat function for any questions. Thanks so much.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael McLeod. I am the owner of GrowNOW ADHD. I am an ADHD and executive functioning specialist. And here we have...
Hi, I'm Ben Zook. I'm the owner of GrowNOW Lancaster, and I'm an ADHD and executive function specialist. I spend most of my time working with kids and families.
Yeah, we are so excited to be a part of the Way Forward Summit. We are huge fans of Anthony's Way and Anthony's Road to Kindness, and it is a privilege to be a part of this summit and this organization. We're huge fans of Tony and his family and everything they're doing to really bring awareness to the ADHD community. They obviously have a very intimate connection to ADHD, and they're using their time and their resources to improving the quality of life of individuals with ADHD and their parents. And that's exactly what GrowNOW is all about. We're all about improving quality of life for kids and teens and parents and families with ADHD, because we now know more about ADHD than we ever did previously in the past. So all of the inappropriate ways we looked at it, we'll talk about that today, how it's been mislabeled and mistreated. We know more about it now today than we ever have previously. So we can treat it, and we can improve outcomes, and we can be on the road to kindness, exactly the way that Anthony's Way is all about. So we're huge fans of this program. It's a privilege to be a part of the summit. And thanks so much for having us. And like Ben said, he's the director of the Lancaster, Pennsylvania branch. I know Anthony's Way has a nice connection to Lancaster and does a lot of great work there, grassroots work there. So it's a privilege to be there. So GrowNOW works with students and families all across the country and internationally. And we have an in-person office in Lancaster as well. So if you'd like more information on GrowNOW, check out our website, grownowadhd.com. Follow us on Instagram at GrowNOWADHD. I always throw a picture of my daughter Eden on there because, that's what it's all about. ADHD is all about family, exactly the way Anthony's Way always explains it. So a quick little shout out to some of the sources and references. If you're attending this presentation today, take a look at these great professionals here. Obviously, the worldwide leader on ADHD and executive functioning, Dr. Russell Barkley. Nobody has worked with more individuals with ADHD across the lifespan. Nobody has published more books. No one's published more research. Dr. Russell Barkley is the best of the best. He very recently fully retired, so he's no longer doing his YouTube channel and different things like that. But it's an absolute treasure trove of information. His YouTube channel, his books, his research, his videos on YouTube. Read his books, read his research. He is absolutely second to none. And the way he's devoted his life to the ADHD field, he's improved the outcomes of millions of people. Then, of course, you have Sarah Ward, who is a fellow speech and language pathologist, just like myself and Mr. Zook here. So definitely check out Sarah Ward and all the great work that she's done. The next is Ryan Wexelblatt, who is my podcast co-host for personally my favorite podcast, because I'm one of the co-hosts of it, the ADHD Parenting Podcast. Check out that podcast as well. If you are a parent to a child with ADHD, check it out. ADHD Parenting Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or your favorite podcasting platform. Check that out if you're a parent who's struggling, because when you have a child with ADHD, as we all know, you can't use your natural parenting instincts. You need a playbook on how to best parent these kids. Then today we're going to be talking about the most up-to-date research on ADHD and executive functions, and groups like the Harvard Center of the Developing Child, the Stanford Parenting Center, Chad. These are all great organizations to learn more about what we now know about ADHD that we didn't know 5, 10 years ago.
And Mike, you should mention the Executive Function Playbook.
Yeah, I have a book coming out in January called The Executive Functioning Playbook. So if you're listening right now, you can grab your phones and go on to Amazon or Barnes and Nobles or go into Google and type in The Executive Functioning Playbook. And there's also a corresponding workbook to help families and parents and teachers implement that structure needed for the ADHD brain. And the workbook is called The Executive Functioning Playbook in Action. So it's the book, The Executive Functioning Playbook, and the workbook, The Executive Functioning Playbook in Action. You can bundle them together, buy them both. If you do, send me over a proof of purchase, and I'll send you over a lot of great freebies as well. So I appreciate anyone who makes those purchases and joins the GrowNOW movement and this executive functioning revolution about improving quality of life that we're all about.
And the workbook itself has a lot of materials that coaches like myself and coaches on the team came up with and use in sessions on a daily basis. So we've been trying and practicing these things before we're putting them out there for people. So
absolutely. Yeah. So shoot me an email. My email's right on our website, grownowADHD.com. Send me a message on Instagram. Send me over your proof of purchase, and I'll send you over a lot of nice freebies and also answer any questions that you have. Okay, so as we go into this, please remember, just like autism, ADHD is a spectrum. No two kids are the same. Ben and I today, we're ADHD and executive functioning specialists, so we're going to give you a lot of generalized, blanketed information about the majority of people with ADHD or things that are most common. But it might not apply to your specific son or daughter or yourself with ADHD because it is different in each person. There is no one set concrete list of symptoms. And obviously today we're talking about ADHD and executive function, and ADHD is rarely ever by itself. There's so many other conditions that affect these kids as well, like dyslexia and anxiety, OCD, ODD, all these different things. Today we're specifically talking about ADHD and executive functioning. Okay, so one of the most important things to understand about ADHD is that it's all about brain development. ADHD is a true disorder of the brain. It's not everybody has a little bit of ADHD. ADHD is a true neurodiverse population. If you have ADHD, you have a different brain compared to individuals of the same age and same gender. So it most often hereditary. You are born with it. One or both of your parents have it. There's some sort of familial lineage about it. And you're born with this different brain. And it affects the brain in structure, function, and development. And the brain develops over the first 30 years of life. And it's a developmental delay. The brain is going to develop slower. Anything you want to add there, Ben?
Just that if you've never seen it, this is another little like freebie or recommendation. Check out a TED Talk called, I think it's like The Procrastinating Mind, where he makes a really good joke about how if you're a dog, just kind of doing whatever you want to do in the moment, living in the moment, just making people happy, you're a great success. Humans are the only species, living beings on this earth that really need to think about the future and change their behavior in the moment based on that future. So check out that TED Talk. I think it's The Mind of a Master Procrastinator. It's about 17 minutes, and I show it to a lot of teenagers that I work with, and it really helps them buy into, yeah, like this is a unique struggle for me. But anyway, yeah, check that out.
Yeah, and that segues us perfectly into what exactly is happening here. So human beings are the only species on this planet that can sustain a behavior over time in the absence of a direct consequence. So with the power of this executive system, these executive functioning skills that truly separate human beings from all other living species, executive functioning skills are the greatest predictor of success for human beings. And with this prefrontal cortex, this executive system, we have the ability to put in the work right now, right in the here and the now, even though the fruits of that labor, the work of that labor, is not going to benefit us until days, weeks, hours, sometimes even years later. We can start planning our college applications, our college essays, our letters of application years before we ever step foot on a college campus. We can start working to get our driver's license years before we ever sit in the driver's seat of a car. We can work towards career goals, health goals, social goals, where we want to live, what we want to do, who we want to be with, years before we are ever able to feel the benefit of that work. Whether it's a negative consequence we want to avoid or a positive consequence we want to attain, with the power of this prefrontal cortex, we have the ability to work today, even though the benefits of this work is not going to benefit us until later. So in the absence of that direct consequence. And with the power of this prefrontal cortex, if you ask most people, what does this part of the brain do, the prefrontal cortex, they're going to say executive functions. But no one really knows why. What exactly is executive functioning? What does it do? It gives us the incredible ability to pause, to stop responding to all of the external stimuli in the environment. We pause, we stop, and we think, and we aim our behavior towards the future. So we stop responding to the screens, the games, the stimuli, the instant gratification of the moment. So we focus on ignoring the instant gratification, and we focus more on delayed gratification. What can I do now that benefits me later? And that's executive functioning. So this incredible ability to create and sustain motivation, even with a delay. And think about how strong that word delay is. It sounds so basic, but this word delay is so powerful, because think of how the youth of today deals with a delay. They're growing up with Amazon, same-day delivery, high-speed internet, supercomputers in their pocket. There's no more waiting until the weekend to go to Best Buy or the video game store to go buy the new video game that comes out. And now it downloads right from the internet onto the hard drive of the system right when it comes out. So these kids today are growing up in a world of instant gratification, and we have stolen the delay from them. And having to experience delays is crucial to childhood and adolescence learning. We have stolen two things from childhood that makes kids feel healthy and safe, and that is play and boredom. Kids need to experience play and boredom, especially ADHD kids, especially the ADHD brain. And when we steal these things, play and boredom, from the ADHD brain, we then create the youth mental health crisis. Okay, and these executive skills have been identified as the foundation that all children need, the greatest predictor of success for human beings. And they become even more important as parents are expected to fade back and kids are expected to step up. So we need the parents to do less and the kids to do more.
So these skills develop gradually during the first 2 decades of life, peaking around 25 to 30. And we see changes in kids that we work with as they are wrapping up their college experience, getting on to the next step of life. And we like to stay in contact with these young people. And it's interesting how our skills and our strategies alongside medication sometimes are what helps them reach their goals and get to what they need to. But it's definitely something that is a misconception that, oh, when you're 18, that's who you're going to be for the rest of your life. So we have time to work on these things, but we need the proper environment and supports. Is it true that ADHD is out of all of the mental health challenges or categories or whatever, it's the most easily treatable or addressed with proper supports and
Absolutely.
medication?
Yeah. Dr. Russell Barkley describes ADHD as the diabetes of psychiatry. So diabetes is, you're able to treat it. You're able to provide that daily insulin and, treatment around that to be able to manage diabetes. It's the same thing with ADHD. You take your medication as prescribed by the pediatrician based on the evaluation, what the licensed physician is telling you to do, and then there's treatment around it. And that's what we're talking about today. So as long as we recognize what ADHD is and treat it appropriately, not based off of the nonsense on social media, the pseudoscience on social media, real, actual clinical advice, we can make some real headway and some progress on this disorder. So here's a nice list of what most people think of when they think of lagging executive functioning skills. They think of just messy backpacks, messy folders, not being able to do homework, all these external behavioral-based, academic-based things. But now we know when it comes to ADHD and executive functioning, it's not so much these things listed here. These things listed here are more of just external symptoms of missing internal skills. So when it comes to the youth of today, what we're really looking for, the two biggest red flags when we're looking at a child or teen with ADHD, it's these two things right here.
So one is that every day is looking the same for them. They're in their comfort zone. I'm sure some of you have heard of, growth mindset and how that builds the part of your brain through challenges and new experiences. People with ADHD tend to really revert into their comfort zone. And with the world that we live in now, especially with screens, that constant stimulus of your preferred topic, it can be really easy for anyone to fall into their comfort zone. And then, kind of related to falling into your comfort zone, is a lack of diverse social experiences. And this is another thing that's interesting is how social media comes into play with the lack of diverse social experiences. People aren't getting into real world social interactions and learning from those experiences, but instead they're engaging in online socialization, and it doesn't fill the same social battery that humans need. It's giving the stimulus of, oh, look at this person talking, or like, look at this funny video, but it's not the give and take required of actual real world social experiences. So we don't view sitting and scrolling on social media as actual diverse social experiences. And those are two things to look for as a marker of ADHD. It's not just bumping your leg in class, can't pay attention in class. It really has impactful, it really impacts quality of life.
That's exactly it. That's really well said in terms of these tech-based and screen-based socialization. We have to remember these things are marketed as social. Oh, your child needs a phone. They need a screen, and that's how they're going to make friends. If you don't buy them a phone, they're not going to have friends. If you don't give them Snapchat, they're not going to have friends. If they don't have Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, they're not going to have friends. But all of us adults who are screen addicted, who are able to manage work and family and our screen addiction because we're adults with a fully developed brain. We all know screens have made us less social. We live in an incredibly divisive time in the world, in this country, where we don't know our neighbors, or we don't socialize as much. And we all know that as adults, screens have made us less social. Screens are marketed as buy these products for your kid. They will make them more safe, smart, and social. And we all know in reality, it makes them more dormant, depressed, and dependent. The foundation of this youth mental health crisis, just like Jonathan Haidt talks about in his book, The Anxious Generation. So in the past, executive functions and ADHD were looked at as this external behavioral based disorder. And everything was about school. ADHD will affect you at school. Executive functions are skills needed for school. But now we know that's not accurate. That's not accurate at all. Executive functions are the greatest predictor of success in all areas of life. And ADHD affects you in all areas of life, not just school. And based on the youth of today, it's actually school is not the most common place where you see the most symptoms. It's actually the home, in the unstructured environment with unconditional relationships of the parents. Home executive functioning is the most common symptom, not academic executive functioning. The majority of kids, not all, a little bit over 50%, actually do quite well at school because they respond to the structure at school well and the conditional relationships at school. The majority of ADHD symptoms are seen at home towards parents and in the unstructured environment of the home. Yes, many ADHD kids struggle at school, especially now with these Chromebooks and iPads and all of this ed tech. And they're really struggling because they can't regulate themselves with unfettered access to the internet sitting right in front of them, which has been an absolute disaster and an absolute mess for our educational system. But it is the home where the majority of symptoms are seen. So there's really four pillars of executive functions that we're going to talk about today. The first,
Self-awareness, being able to understand how your existence in this world is affecting others, understanding your own emotions. We talk about zones of regulation a lot, kind of knowing where you are in relation to yourself and relation to others. This is a skill that I support students with every day.
and the next is self-regulation. This is really what it's all about. This is the foundation. It's not attention deficit disorder. It is self-regulation deficit disorder. The inability to regulate your emotions, your language, your body, your behavior in various environments towards various stimuli. It's not hyperactivity. It's the inability to regulate your body. It's not inattentiveness. It's the inability to regulate your mind. This is really the Dr. Russell Barkley self-regulation model of ADHD, which I highly recommend you look more into. And the third pillar.
Self-motivation, like we talked about earlier, kind of delaying instant gratification for things that we need to do that require some work but make us feel better in the long run, or things that make other people happy. That's honestly part of why we love Anthony's Way and the kindness motto so much, because one of the ways that I help people build self-motivation skills is perspective taking and understanding that we can be motivated to do things not just for our own feeling in the moment, but your feeling in the future, as well as the feelings of others in the future. So self-motivation, we're going to get to the internal language skills model, which is us as speech language pathologists. We're nerds about language. We love to talk about it. But that's going to be a big part of our talk and presentation is internal language and how we use that for self-motivating.
Yeah, and when it comes to self-motivation with ADHD, it's all about non-preferred tasks, non-instantly gratifying tasks. Sure, they can play Fortnite for 10 hours straight, Minecraft, Roblox for 10 hours straight, but can they take a shower? Can they brush their teeth? Can they do their homework? Can they go outside? Can they socialize face to face? Can they sit at dinner with you without a screen? Then we have self-evaluation, which is the ability to learn from past experiences and apply it to the present moment. So they're not repeating the same mistake every single day. And this is what burnout with ADHD parenting is all about. You're dealing with the same fight, the same arguing, the same negotiation every single day. The conflict-seeking, negative attention stimulation brain. The ADHD brain gets more dopamine from negative attention than positive attention. They would rather hear stop that than great job, because that gives them the dopamine. That gives them the sense of control. So negative attention stimulation and conflict seeking. So here we have the 4 pillars. In the past, it was all about time management, organization, and messy backpacks, messy folders. But think about it. You're going to have a messy backpack unless you're first self-aware that that's even a problem. Then you have to be regulated and motivated enough to do that incredibly boring task of cleaning a backpack. Then you have to be able to self-evaluate and think, hey, in 2 periods, I'm going to have science class, and she's going to ask me to take out my lab notebook. Everyone's going to do it right away, and I'm going to be the one person with dirty, crinkled papers for 5 minutes, can't find it. I'm not going to like how that feels, so I better do something about it now. And that's what it's all about. So yes, we focused on these external symptoms of time management, organization, study skills. For too long, it goes so far beyond that. Executive functions are needed to move out of your parents' house, get a job, keep a job, make friends, keep friends, and live without so much help, prompting, and accommodations. So here we have the 4 pillars, and the foundation of the 4 pillars is self-language. And we have the 3 zones of executive functioning, and Ben can run through these. The first is
academic, where previously ADHD was viewed as this academic-based disorder. Are you struggling to pay attention in class and get your homework done? This is just one area that we support kids and their families with, and it is an area of need. We find that addressing the 2 other zones that we're going to be getting to certainly helps with academics. So we give them external tools, but working internally on these next 2 zones help us work on the academic things just as much.
And home executive functioning, this is the most common symptom of ADHD, which presents itself in 2 main ways. Number 1 is self-regulation towards parents and siblings. So anger and frustration and dysregulation towards parents and siblings. No one sees more ADHD behaviors than the parents, typically than the mom, because moms are the definition of unconditional love, right? So moms and parents and siblings see the worst of the ADHD behaviors. Home executive functioning, dysregulation towards parents and siblings, and the ability to initiate, persist, and complete non-preferred, non-screen-based tasks in the home. And then third, we have
social executive functioning, basically your ability to learn from past social mistakes and apply that learning. Being able to understand what you're bringing to a social interaction, one-on-one or in a group. Are they finding you cringy? Are they finding you funny? Do they want to continue to be around you? Are you remembering things about them? Because that's a key marker of a developing friendship is that, hey, I told you this and you checked in about it again. That was awesome. So that's what we support students with.
Exactly. So executive functions are all about your ability to take an action to yourself, to stop yourself from what you would have done on impulse to change self's future. So there's that word impulse. that is so synonymous with ADHD kids. They're so impulsive. They're so impulsive. It's because they are lacking the ability to stop, visualize, talk to yourself, and then do. So take an action to yourself, stop yourself from what you would have done on impulse. Instead, focus on the self and begin externally. Okay. And it's all about from prompt dependence to independence. If you have ADHD and executive dysfunction, you're probably prompt dependent on someone else. Your parents are probably constantly prompting you for morning routine, evening routine, homework, showering, hygiene, task of daily living, constantly. ADHD parents operate under one mindset. Nothing gets done unless I step in. And that actually creates more problems because you're prompting and their brain is negative attention seeking. So it's the ADHD parenting paradox of parents feeling they have to prompt, feeling they have to step in, but when they do, it just makes things worse. So at GrowNOW, this is how we measure progress from fading prompts towards independence as quickly as possible. We want our parents doing less, which is why we do so much parent coaching and parent training, and we want our kids doing more. We don't want constant accommodations, constant support. We want to give the kid the skills, empower the parents, so the kid is doing more, the parents are doing less every single day. And that is what improves self-confidence, self-worth, and quality of life. Okay, and we have the 3 predictors of success here. Number 1, the ability to independently form and maintain social relationships, real face-to-face social relationships, not online, not on phones, not on video games. The ability to independently manage your emotions and stop having the tantrums, stop having the breakdowns, stop freaking out every day, inability to to regulate yourself in periods of stress, and the ability to independently manage your life and independently problem solve. And the one word highlighted in all 3 of these is independently. You're doing these 3 things on your own, not with mom stepping in, not with dad stepping in, not with a coach stepping in. You are now independent and you don't need someone else to be your frontal lobe, to be your executive functioning. Okay. And like I said, we know more about ADHD and executive functioning now than ever before because it's all about varied experiences and interpersonal relationships. It's not about talk therapy and counseling and going to all these different, things that are out there. Kids with ADHD need many different experiences and many different relationships. Very, very important. And we can very quickly get a little bit through here. So here, we know that we are currently in the worst youth mental health crisis of all time. We have to understand this. What is happening with the kids right now, with all the different mental health problems, is very scary. But we're turning a blind eye towards it because we're scared, because we know what's causing it. It's the screens. But we're too scared to step in and do something about it because we know if we remove these drugs from these kids' lives, the withdrawal behaviors are going to be very, very scary. So we constantly think, oh, let me get him in therapy, and the therapist will talk to him about his screen use. Let me try to give him skills so he can have a balance and he can have screens and learn to have other things. But chances are, if they have ADHD, their brain is not ready. And this whole idea of a balance is just not going to happen. So here we have, yes, the youth mental health crisis, and we see, all these different things about all these different horrible things that are really increasing in our youth. The kids are not all right now, and we have to really take a long, hard look. Major depression amongst boys and girls since 2010 increasing, not just from COVID, happening long before COVID. We see all these different things: anxiety, depression, sleep issues, withdrawing from family, aggressive behavior, percentage of US kids with anxiety. So anxiety increasing amongst the ages of 18 to 25, a 139% increase since 2010. Very scary. Mental illnesses amongst college students, anxiety and depression. So this youth mental health crisis, what's the cause? There we go. So as with all the graphs, we see mental illness increasing. There's corresponding graphs that show social deprivation, and it's right along the rise of screens.
Mike, wasn't there a time that you saw someone claiming that it's not screens that are causing the youth mental health crisis, it's social deprivation? And so they're saying that the screens claim is bogus. But then we kind of step back and we're like, the screens are often leading people to be socially isolated, to deprive them of social experiences. So we're not saying that screens are this evil, brain rotting technology, but it's carving out important developmental milestones or developmental tasks that people need to do to feel well and learn how to feel well. So we help kids and families find replacement activities, help them be motivated to get on board with getting out of their comfort zone.
Exactly what Jonathan Haidt says in The Anxious Generation. Screens are experience killers. And what did Ben and I say 10 minutes ago of what ADHD kids need the most? The things that actually build executive functions. It's not sitting and talking to a therapist. It's not sitting and doing worksheets. It is varied experiences and interpersonal relationships. From birth to 18 years old, you have to do as many different things as possible. You have to do as many different things that you don't want to do as possible. You have to meet as many different people as possible. And if you introduce a phone or very addictive video games into a kid's life, that becomes the center of their life. And why go outside and meet someone and have to share 50-50 social reciprocity? Why join a club after school? Why join a sport? Why read a book? Why do chores? Why go talk to my parents when I can just flip through Instagram and Snapchat and YouTube and Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft? It's a very serious problem. We see teens engaging in adult activities greatly decreasing. Some of these things might seem positive, but what is it replacing? Doom scrolling and, incredible screen addictions. So outdoor play is absolutely dying. Almost 1 in 10 children never play outside at all. And convicted criminals in jail get more recreational outside time than American children do. The youth mental health crisis, why is the sudden decline in play? Here you go. 7 hours per day in front of a screen for entertainment. And since these things were created by super duper publications, it's only gotten worse. Teens in the US over 13 years old spend an average of 8.5 hours per day of screen time outside of school. So their entire childhood, their entire adolescence, they're reaching 18 years old, and you say, hey, what's the best memory of your childhood? And all it is Fortnite victories and Minecraft victories and Roblox victories. And that's not good. And that's why we have depression and all of these problems. So if you go into a store and you look for a product and it says, okay, this product might cause suicidal thoughts, detachment from reality, increased aggression, diminished self-worth, would you buy that product for your child? Probably not. Well, there you go. Kids and smartphones create these exact things. And the science is here. We know that screens actually negatively impact the brain. White matter, gray matter, cortical network organization, screens negatively impact the brain. And in terms of ADHD, it creates ADHD symptoms. Screens don't cause ADHD. Screens don't cause neurodiversity. But if you do have ADHD, you are prime for a very debilitating screen addiction. And that is step one, is to do something about these screens, and then you can build the skills. Therapists out there need to do a better job of being very upfront with parents instead of saying, hey, let's try this, let's try this. If the screens are not taken care of first, and outside of your sessions, the child is just in the virtual world all day, then what are you really doing? We need to be very upfront with these parents, okay? And the science is clear. Why are screens such a problem? 2 main reasons. Number one, most parents are addicted, so they feel bad telling their kids to be on screens less when they know they're addicted. And reason number 2, fear-based parenting. Parents have these mindset. If I take his screens away, the meltdowns will destroy our relationship. He'll never want to talk to me again. He'll lose all his friends if we cut screens. Oh, but he's using them socially, right? Like I said earlier, there's social, smart, and safe. The marketing, big tech tells us tech makes kids social, smart, and safe, but the research tells us it makes them depressed, dependent, and dormant. So this whole idea that they'll lose their friends is nonsense. Ben and I have worked with hundreds and hundreds of kids that have had screens fully eliminated, and they end up making more friends, and the relationship with the parents improves, and socially, quality of life, all these things improve. And then by the time they hit 18, 19, when their brain is ready, remember the brain develops until 30 years old, then they can handle the screens. Okay? So fear-based parenting. Ask yourself as a parent, Does my child have screens? Is this still a problem because I'm too scared to do something about it? Have I been duped by big tech's perfect marketing campaign that all kids need screens? You see now Instagram doing these ridiculous teen accounts. You see Roblox trying to put in these, special accounts to keep kids safe. It's nonsense. It's all them just trying to keep youth on these things because that's where they're making the most money. Tech addicted ADHD kids.
And what are the Facebook files again? Or what was that conversation that you brought up to me the other day?
In terms of like stealing kids' data and different things like that. So like, yeah, I think that's a lot of what it is, Meta and all these different organizations, attention is the currency. And they all realized we're making our most money on tech addicted kids. And this is why Ben and I are so passionate about ADHD kids and teens and quality of life, because it is our neurodiverse youth. It is our ADHD youth that are the biggest victims of this youth mental health crisis and big tech's marketing campaign. It is ADHD kids that are primed for substance abuse, and we do a pretty good job of keeping drugs and alcohol away from our kids, but they are replacing it with screens, and they are getting absolutely addicted, and it's becoming a very serious problem. So Ben and I are very upfront about all of the science and all of the research about screens, and we're very upfront with parents that if you have a child with ADHD, you are going to have to wait as long as possible to introduce screens into their life. And the day will come where they will thank you for it, because childhood is about play and it is about boredom. And the second screens come into their life, those things are gone. All behavior is communication, right? Your child is telling you every single day with their behaviors, my brain is not ready for this level of stimulation. All behavior is communication, and all of the dysregulation, all of the arguing, all of the fighting is them telling you, my brain is not ready. I cannot handle these screens. You gave them to me too soon. When these are available to me, I have no desire to do anything else. Okay, so parents, talking to a therapist won't help. There's no gaining skills to have that balance that every parent dreams of. It's not going to happen, right? Experiences build executive functions. You have no idea, and this is the Anthony's Way message, you have no idea what amazing talents and skills are laying dormant inside your child. They could be an artist, a musician, an athlete. They could have so many incredible talents, and you don't know because their entire life is Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, Snapchat, and TikTok. Okay? So we have to remember, to get the executive functioning tech plan, go to our website, GrowNOWADHD.com, and download this great extensive tech plan to decrease and eliminate tech in your home. This plan really empowers parents to build that structure and be able to improve outcomes. Check out the ADHD Parenting Podcast, like and subscribe, and send me a message after you do that as well. Okay, and here's all of our information. Email me, mike@grownowADHD.com. Check out our website, grownowADHD.com, and follow us on Instagram. And if you were a part of this summit and you watched this presentation, please message us. Ben and I would love to chat with you one-on-one. We'll do a call with you, we'll Zoom with you. I would love to hear your story. Like I said in the beginning, this is generalized, blanketed information. So Ben and I love to hear from parents, especially Ben over in Lancaster and me over here in Philly and around the world, all the traveling I do. We love to hear from parents about the individualized battle they're fighting every day with their child's individualized needs, not the generalized blanketed stuff we discussed today. We love to hear from parents themselves. So please check us out on Instagram, follow us on follow us online, listen to the podcast, send me an email, send me a DM, and we really appreciate it. So Ben and I can't thank you guys enough. Anthony's Way, keep doing what you're doing. Go check out Ben in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and his great office that he's doing there. And follow, like, subscribe. And again, if you took the time to listen to this today, reach out to us, and Ben and I would love to chat with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much. Anthony's Way, keep doing what you're doing.
Love it.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's a privilege.
It was awesome. Thank you very much. You and Mike are great, and we appreciate you being part of this. So, question for you, Ben. You have 500 5-star reviews. All right, that's just awesome. So tell us the positive side about when you take the screens away from a child what happens? Just tell everybody, share what happens initially, and then tell everybody how it is in after 3, 4 weeks.
So every kid is different, every family is different, but what we often see is this kind of formula ends up happening. First, there's a lot of pushback, major behaviors, sometimes even escalating behaviors, things they've never said before, breaking things, and that can go on for like a week in the detox process. After that, they're bored, they're sitting around, they're accepting it. We coach the parents on staying really firm with their decision, and then they find other things to do. And not only are they finding other things to do, there's changes in mood and engagement in the world around them. So we see these positive changes a lot of the time. Sometimes it's not the only piece of the puzzle. We're not here to say that it's the only piece of the puzzle here with ADHD, but so many times, I would say the majority of times, it creates really positive changes. And that's why we like to talk about this stuff and help people realize it. Like ed tech has not done, or not, well, yes, ed tech, but big tech in the tech industry has not done justice in researching how it affects kids' brain development. And we're just seeing the effects of it more and more every year. So it's like I said, every kid and every family is different, but it's typically a week of or two of a lot of pushback and negative behaviors, and then there's improvements in mood and improvements in ability to get chores done and get homework done. Like it's quite astonishing how often it's very successful.
Great. No, that's great because that's how you found your talents, right? I mean, there was a question about practical strategies or systems can help improve executive functioning on a daily basis. Getting them away from the screens, you find their talents, right? You get them to try different things, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And part of part of the challenge is helping kids realize that they were, yes, it was they were successful in this one preferred area of their video game or of social media networking or whatever it is, but they have so much potential beyond that in a way that makes them feel better about themselves. Like I accomplished this thing I never thought I could do before. It doesn't quite give that same level of satisfaction and self-worth if you're winning in Fortnite compared to you're attending team sports or you're going to a friend's house. It's just different.
So what was really cool is that I appreciate you talking about the youth mental health crisis, because we've gone in for a number of grants and we've been turned down a number of times because they don't view this as a youth mental health crisis. So how can we change that? How is it not communicated, or how should it be communicated out there? What can we do differently? What can others do differently to really say, look, we got to make changes occur. It's time. The time is now, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can always just do your best to show the numbers, show the statistics. Jonathan Haidt's Anxious Generation does have a lot of really good information reference, and you can just read about some of the sources that he references that show that in, the 2000 teens, there's this sharp escalation across the age span, across genders of mental health challenges. And it's kind of a difficult battle because it's so much a part of society and it's so integrated into adult
Mm.
society that it's just going to be and I admit it's very, very challenging when technology has a lot of benefits to adults and we do need to use it a lot and we are using it a lot, but it's not helping kids' brains develop into being happy, successful human beings. So definitely Jonathan Haidt's Anxious Generation has a lot of really good information, and our, GrowNOW has a lot of good information as well.
Right. Yeah.
And it's out there.
Yeah. So a question came in too, is that many individuals describe ADHD paralysis. What actually is happening in the brain during those moments?
It can really vary from person to person, but often there can be a lot of negative self-talk involved. Like I suck at math. I can't do this. So part of our system of helping people, yes, we manage screens and reduce or take away screens, and help families with that. But we're also helping kids and teenagers build positive self-talk and an internal system of tools that they can challenge those negative thoughts and get themselves unstuck. and get themselves stuck out of the current moment, that in the moment thoughts, challenge those thoughts and think about the future, how they'll feel when it's done, how they'll feel when they've accomplished what they need to do, how it will be, how other people will feel about them when they've accomplished it. You know, how my parents will feel, how my teacher, who I really like, in this moment, they're stuck in often a negative self-talk cycle, or it can just be avoidance by imagination, daydreaming, just thinking about whatever thing is coming to mind. It's different for everyone, but often negative self-talk. And that's why, the concept of growth mindset, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, is helpful when we help kids and teenagers identify this challenge, these negative feelings I'm experiencing are good. Like, I need to feel these negative feelings and challenge to get better. It's normal. That's what's so challenging about video games and social media, is that it's often not like presenting that feeling of real challenge, real, like, it creates challenge in the video games sometimes. But like, even video games, like, there's interesting articles about this. Video games have gotten easier and easier and easier over the years because they just want to keep you playing and feeling this sense of accomplishment and give you rewards and pump dopamine into your brain. When in reality, it's just crippling kids' abilities to do hard things. So we help people understand that challenge, healthy challenge for good things, is good. And that's growth mindset.
You've been really successful. So a question came in about the Mike's new playbook, executive function playbook. What is the workbook about, and what age is the workbook for? Is it for everybody, or what age is it for?
Yeah, the workbook is for all ages. It has a variety of different things for all ages. It just provides some very straightforward, clear strategies to managing screens, how to tackle tasks, how to manage your time. And sometimes we're not really diving too much into reward systems, but there's a little bit of stuff on that. It's just a variety of things that support executive function, skill, independence, and managing screens and worksheets that can be either filled out or worked on with your child, or can just be a template for, hey, like, I'm going to try this.
It's great. So there's the playbook, and then there's
Yep.
also the workbook. Do you suggest that families get both? The
Yeah,
workbook, yeah, go ahead.
of course. And I also suggest that families access free resources from the GrowNOW Instagram. And, like, both are excellent tools and resources. You can get a lot of great information for free on Mike's Instagram, and just tips. And they're often labeled like dealing with morning routines, dealing with school avoidance, like, kind of specific information about different things. We want as many people to know about this as possible because we're in this to help people, and just like you are.
Yeah, the real power, I think, is that it's a step-by-step guide, isn't it? Step-by-step guide into what you should do in these situations. And I think that's real powerful for a lot of parents out there that have these questions. So I think that's all we got for you, Ben.
Yeah,
So
thank
listen,
you. Thank you.
thank you, and thank
Yeah,
Mike, both of you. You've been great, and we loved having you on. And the message is clear, and concise, and tells what the benefits are to removing screens from kids. I mean, it should be done. We wish we would have done more of it. Our son loved to be outside. He did not want to be inside. He liked to play, liked to be outside, liked to work on cars, loved martial arts, and loved playing outside with his friends in the yard and stuff. And that was a real benefit. So I think it's
yeah.
really helpful.
It's not you, it's the world. There's so many things that we're learning. Like, at one point, pregnant mothers were smoking cigarettes like crazy, and then with some time and research, you realize that that was challenging. So it's the world we're in, and we're doing our best to help as many people as possible, just like you are. I'm excited to have GrowNOW officially in Lancaster, my
Yeah,
hometown, and
yeah.
bring back some of the work I'm doing there. So thank you for your time, and
We
really
look
appreciate
forward
it.
to we look forward to seeing you on Lancaster, my friend. Thank you
You
very
got
much.
it.
Thank you for spending time with us today.
If you like today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use the information. And remember, A little bit of kindness goes a long way, especially for those kids with ADHD. See you next time.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to our podcasts. We really appreciate you listening to them. And hopefully you're getting a lot from the information that we share. Now we're here to ask you to help us. Help us to help these kids. Your donation is an investment in helping a child with ADHD and helping a family that can't afford the cost of care. Our QR codes are below. Every dollar we raise goes directly into helping these kids to thrive, and we get them the help they need, specifically the care from our care model that they need. So we hope you'll make a donation, become part of our community and donation community. You'll get newsletters and updates periodically, and we'd love to have you part of it. So thank you very much, and appreciate your consideration and your time. Best.